Alright, BobalosRex here. And today, we're talking... Hold up, it's coming up. We're talking how to kill a Void Lord. Because it may be topical. It may be topical. You know, we are going into the raid. I'm basically going to be speculating about how this raid goes, how this ends, and we got to talk about this trailer. Other people have already talked about this trailer, so my lore rants are on Sunday. I had to wait, but let's go over this trailer just a little bit. Because here's the thing. Remember when I was playing through the quest line? Remember when I was going through the quest line and Locust Walker was getting outed for what he did and how sad he was and all that stuff, and then we got the audio dramas with Locust Walker. That was after. But in that quest line, I was so worried that they were going to kill Locust Walker because he feels primed for dying. Now we get this. We're going to be talking about the raid. Alright, we are going to be talking about the raid. But I don't have any spoilers, right? We've now played all the quest lines together. Alright? Anything I'm saying now is based off of information and vibes. Okay? And let me tell you. This trailer don't look good for Locust Walker. Because there is a scene that I think this could be before the raid. And that could have been when I thought Locust Walker was going to die. Because you know what? I did get the extra little quest line on the PTR. I did get that one little bitty quest line on the PTR. But this doesn't feel like that one. You know what? Maybe it's not. Let's keep thinking. I do not think it's looking good for Locust Walker, and I haven't been. But now that I think about it, I think I know what that scene could be. People are using this scene to mean Locust Walker's, death. Which, I'm prepared for. But the more I look at it, I'm like, if this is in the Manid Forge area, then it could be what happens next week. And that wouldn't be Locust Walker, that would be someone else. But let's keep going ahead. It could be wraps. I want to pause on this shot. Oh, I had it. So is this Dementia's forming at the heart of the Mana Forge? Is that what this is? Interesting. Hold on. I think some people have been focusing on the wrong shots. Alright. If that... See, that's why it looks really bad. Look at that. Look at that. Ugh. We are going to talk more than just, what could be happening to him. But I had to get through this because I was afraid for him before. But now I'm like, yo, I got some other theories. Hold up. I need a freeze frame on some of these other shots. Venari with that knife really makes me curious about something I'm going to talk about in a little bit in this video. These shots are so quick. Oh my god. What is this cutscene? This is a very interesting cutscene. With Xal'atath there. Okay. Yeah, see, this is Dementia's forming, right? It was that platform, so it's like blowing up. Yeah. Because I'm wondering, here's another theory, right? A dude coming back that's going to happen next week. You can see it in the raid journal. Is going to cause a swap. Did I do a spoiler? I feel like I said a spoiler warning, but slight spoiler warning. Because I'm going to be talking about stuff in the raid journal. And in the cinematic. And that one quest line that I played. So I'm sorry if you got some spoilers. But I don't know for sure if Locust Walker is going to die. I do. You do the quest line, you do next week's quest line, it's just like, man, they gonna kill him? I don't remember this shot of Xal'atath, though. So now I'm wondering... So it can't be Azir. It can't be Azir. There's heat. There's... No, that could be another one. I feel like some people are getting munched to summon Dementias, and I feel like Locust Walker is gonna get done, man. Look at this fight. Oh my god. Look at this fight! Yeah, the whole Mana Forge gets destroyed. Yo, that whole Mana Forge area gets destroyed. Or we gotta be like flying towards the center of the planet. See, another one. I feel like he may die early in the raid. Honestly. Because if he was got... Who gets him though? Maybe Saladar. I don't think it's gonna be Xal'atath. Because Xal'atath helps us. And I feel like we'd stop helping her if she does that. Because we'd be like, do we even trust her? Maybe at the end, though. Actually, maybe she does do it. Okay. This shot right here, this one, may be a next week one. This shot... You know what? Maybe Xal'atath didn't help Locust Walker. And that's what's going on there. And then, because I've seen other people talking about this. I just know that early on, I've been afraid for Locust Walker. So, it coming all together that... And we see him touching the Dark Heart. This is why I think he may get absorbed into the Dark Heart. I got it. This is how it goes down. Here we go, I got it. Here's the cutscene. Locust Walker, Dementius is defeated and put into this. Locust Walker's like, okay, good. Let's destroy Dementius forever. Locust Walker walks up to touch it. Illyria's like, no, wait. Xal'atath is sitting back. Then this absorbs him completely into the Dark Heart. And then the Dark Heart goes into a portal, and then Xal'atath, or it flies to Xal'atath, and then she turns around and is all like, or like it explodes. See, look, she has it. She has it right there. She has it right there. There it is. Look. Yep, that's what happens. Oh my god. That is what happens. There it is. Yo. That's what happens. Locust Walker is like, we defeated Dementius. We killed the Void Lord finally. He's been absorbed into the Dark Heart. Locust Walker is like, yo. Locust Walker finally kind of like gives into his like, ooh, Void. What's that? I want to touch it. Void whispers, like people telling him, touch it, touch the Void, touch. Blah, 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 absorbed. And then Illyria's left all like,
Sense that, Illyria.
no. And then it switches to him, and because this is the cinematic we're gonna see next week. Before this is them resurrecting the other guy, Saladar. I mean, I could say it. I've already said spoiler warning. So next week they're gonna resurrect Saladar. That's the resurrection Saladar cutscene. This is the raid ending cinematic. So here's how it starts. Oh my god, they gave us the whole thing. So boom, that's the Dementius summoning cinematic that happens in the raid. Then the ending cinematic is... where's Locust Walker grabbing? Here, I'll try to do it here. This raw power. So the Void will be... or maybe Dementius will be like, yo, don't trust her. Don't trust Xal'atath. Don't trust Xal'atath. Or she's hearing the same whispers, and she's like, oh no, don't do it. He touches it. He gets absorbed into it. There's like a big void explosion. And then it's like, what's going on? And then cut to over here. She's got the Dark Heart. Illyria goes after her, and then she's gone. Yo, that's it! That's what happens. Yo, you heard it here first. Lore Rant successfully figured out the cutscene. And then the ones of Azir are him resurrecting his daddy. And yeah, there's the point of the explosion. Here's some more of it. Do we actually see Xal'atath in the background here? So he sees the explosion here. What's weird is there's this.
He will devour all that exists.
Like that red seems a little off to me.
What is that?
And then I wonder if Xal'atath is gonna get the Soul Scribe here. Ooh. Okay, so this all goes together. So then it's Xal'atath who gets the Soul Scribe to go. The Soul Scribe basically goes bunk wild afterwards.
What is Xal'atath planning?
Then Illyria is like, what is she planning? That's after. Okay, alright. Dude, we cracked it. Alright, so now let's put it all together. So here's my other theory, right? Look over here. You could barely see what I'm talking about, but let's freaking look over there. Does this zone feel not too small, but a little small, right? Now, here's what I'm interested in. Let's fly over here. Let's see if something happens, like with Belameth. Because here's the thing. I'm about to be zapped. Ooh. Here's what I'm wondering, right? I'm wondering if we get access to the dungeon area. I kind of talked about it in yesterday's video. But here's the thing, right? Ecodome Aldani is not this Ecodome. Is not Ecodome Primus. It is not even the Ecodome Oasis. Okay, the Oasis. Okay? Ecodome Aldani is built somewhere else. You know, we go there for the dungeon. The dungeon is set after the raid. If y'all remember, Belemeth, after we did Defense of Amirdrasil, the raid, after you finished it and you turn in the quest, Amirdrasil, or Belemeth, was accessible. Well, not really Belemeth, but Amirdrasil. The tree was accessible, right? So this is not... This is the Oasis. This isn't Ecodome Aldani. I'm like 100% sure this is different than the dungeon. Because if we look at the dungeon map... Here, we'll bring up the dungeon map. No, it's different. But if we look at the shape, look. So the portal's over here. There's this here. Take this shape, right? It could fit right there. It could fit right there. Alright, you see how these stars are? Maybe it could be up there. Part of me feels like we may end up seeing the dungeon up here on the map. That's what I talked about it yesterday. But if you think about it, right? So we do the raid. The cinematic plays out. We defeat Dementias. Xal'atath gets away. Alright. And then we go, because the Soul Scribe betrays us but gets literally she gets wrecked. All her people get wrecked by Illyria. One shot. So then she runs off. She's like, oh shit, I got fucked up. So we go to do the raid, is the way I'm seeing it. And then after the raid, Venari's like, yo, Soul Scribe attacked the Ecodome Aldani. I need your help. Head over here. Help me out. This plays out, and then maybe, yeah, we get access to Ecodome Aldani. I think that would be cool. Is that realistic? No. But they did it for Belemeth, so I can hope. And then that's... Realistically, that's the only reason why I'd have it set after the raid. Is so that it's part of that epilogue, and you've saved Koresh, this area is opened up, you can now go there, and all that. So I think that would be interesting. Because yeah, it is a different Ecodome than the one we had, and apparently it's built off the bones of Koresh, which is another thing. You know, I was gonna title this "How to Killing a Void Lord," because we've seen a couple attempts at it, right? So killing a Void Titan, you know, Sargeras decided, you know, break the planet. Locust Walker, in the same situation, was like, yo, this Void Lord's gonna eat my planet. I'm gonna unravel my planet so he can't. I'm gonna blow him up. And then this is what we get. Now, what are we gonna be doing in the Ecodome? You know, it's probably gonna be, we use our player power, our massively huge player power to be able to defeat the Void Lord. But basically, see, look at this. Deep within the Mana Forger, Mega Dimensions, the all-devouring and the destroyer of Koresh is slowly waking as his devoted ethereal followers use the Dark Heart to give him sustenance, if they succeed. So basically, our goal to beat him is to use the Dark Heart against him. right? And if you go into the raid journal, you see after a devastating counterattack from the players and Xal'atath, Dimensius begins to extinguish the stars. We're going to be flying around, beat him, right? So, we are how to kill a Void Lord. But honestly, I mainly just wanted to talk about that cinematic. So maybe I'll just call it talking about the cinematic and how the raid goes, because I think that's literally how the raid cinematic goes. There are a few things else I wanted to talk about. So, the Doom of Koresh, now that y'all know, is basically Ethereal Civil War. You know, Saladar got all the religious... Well, not just the religious. He got the oracles. It seemed he got Kaiveza in them on his side, because Locust Walker talks about being betrayed. And with how Kaiveza is now, I think it was her. I think he stabbed her, or she stabbed him in the back, and his plan didn't go to fruition. Dimensius was, dissipated, and then Saladar, leading, having confused many of the Ethereals, had them be like, yes, let's put an end to Dimensius, and had us going around breaking the pieces of Dimension so he could get all the pieces together. But it seemed like he didn't get enough for so long. We killed him in Outland. We killed a big piece of Dimensius in Outland. But I think he was just sitting here wasting away. It's not until we get the Dark Heart and how much energy has been infused in it. Because, look, you got Galakron energy. You got Dalaran energy. You got Beladar energy. Some of it before it got broken. Alright. That thing has been getting juiced up. Who knows what they were doing in between some of the time, right? So the Ethereals, get it, use it, bring back Big Boy. We go in there, defeat him. Y'all see how the cinematic plays out. Then we go do the dungeon. And yeah, hopefully we get a new little spot here. But that's all my theories for the raid so far. I think the Rishi ribbons are cool. Queen Ashur was talking about them on Twitter being Titany, because they're arcane-y, and I'm like, now with the new elemental explanations in the realms, maybe there is a distinction between arcane and order directly. And then also, let's talk about the bug. Lumathar was purposely bred by the Shadow Guard for its unique ability to infuse arcane energy into prestigious silk weaving bound to its fate inside the machinery of their mana forge. Lumathar spins endless spools of arcane silk for its masters. So there's like a critter that feeds the silk, right? But I don't think this is the only one. I don't think for a minute the Ethereals, because some people are thinking the Ethereals can't make more. But I think more things can become ethereal, actually. Right? We see so many ethereal, and they've lived so long now. And, dude, I saw that they were changing the date of this when they started doing the Xal'atath stuff. And that's cool. Because now, this happened, Koresh happened, like hundreds of thousands of years ago now. So that perfectly checks out with the Koresh happened, then Xal'atath skated over to here to do her shenanigans. Good for me. But then, now we see what she's going to be doing. She's like, now there's a new place I'm going. And I'm starting to wonder, Yo, I think we gotta figure out who Shadreen's master is. Maybe her master is Xal'atath, right? And they have been on Xal'atath's side because there is that one book that we talked about in Tazavesh, that has a Shadreen page. I mean, the whole thing could be from Shadreen, but there's a page of it. I think it's someone else, and Shadreen had a page in it. I think those guys may be working for Xal'atath. Because what's interesting, they care about our fashion and our fighting style. Who likes to intrigue us with fashion? You know, a dagger. She's like, oh, you like fashion? You like weapons and fancy things? Oh, you like... Oh, you fight like that? Of course Xal'atath would be taking notes like that. You know, you see how manipulative she's been? So, I'm starting to wonder if they work for her. And now, what else? Oh, I wanted to talk about Blood Ties. So, you know how Blood Ties talks about a Legion commander coming back? That's going to be the Midnight Book. Which, here's the thing. People are saying, yo, what if we lose to Dementius? The book saying that people are just going around acting normal for the most part means we do kind of solve the Dementius problem. But if you see how the cinematic's going to end, we're going to have a new problem, and it's our bestie Xal'atath. So, we're not going to be out of the thick of it, but we're going to be waiting in the interim, which is why I definitely think the point, why I talked about the 2.5 and 2.7 like I did, because we'll be able to do other stuff. But that Blood Ties book mentioned a Legion lieutenant coming back. I wonder if it's going to be Kha'Zix. Doomlord Kha'Zix. I think that would be interesting. But we'll have to see. We'll have to see what kind of lieutenant. But I think it's going to be a demon lieutenant, not a dreadlord. Because if it was... Anytime we see a dreadlord now, we as players know who they're repping. Right? Even our characters should know who they're repping. But it's like... Other people may not know. So it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting. Right? Especially if the light comes back. Because we got all these hints now. Oh, the light's coming back. And that's the thing. The light does need to pull up. The light pulling up to Koresh, I guess, is a little bit unrealistic. You know, right now, it's... this is the Ethereals taking a stand against their big bad. And we coming along for the ride. Or the Koreshi taking a stand for the ride, which... More on what's next from them. My lore rant next week is going to be what's next for the Koreshi, because we're going to finally have all the cinematics, and then I'm going to really take a good look and see if, and hope, maybe hope, that we could get playable Koreshi, but we'll see. We'll see. I'll take another look at it next week, after everything. But, we are going to see the light pulling up to the Sunwell. And we see how light-heavy Northern Lordaeron is. So, I think it's going to be interesting there. I think all the light stuff that people... Fighting the Void stuff that people want is going to be in Midnight. It not being here. I mean, if you wanted it, you know, no one's going to convince you to settle, especially if it's something you wanted for the story. But, I've been having a good time with who we got. Also... The Trust? Venari started the Trust, right? How did Tazavesh get here? I think Venari helped bring him here, right? Because here's the thing. What cartels do we see here? Ba, Zai, Om, Zo, no V, no Vi. Because, she had to take them out. She had to take them out. They've been busy. Because think about it, right? There was a time jump in... Yo, that's a big question. So, between Shadowlands and Dragonflight was like a 5 to 4 year time skip. Depending. Or maybe it was like 3 and Shadowlands took 2. How long in Shadowlands time is that? Venari could have been wheeling and dealing for a while. That's why I think Venari basically got the trust together. Right? Venari pulled all the old strings, all the old Ravel members, leaders that she could get, all the new leaders, convinced some people, and were like, yo, let's take our homeworld back. She got Tazavesh all warded up, and they set off, and now they're home. I'm sad we didn't get to see it teleport, but what a sight. They could have had this thing parked here for like a while, honestly. We don't even know if time works differently here. But I definitely think Venari is the one who brought the cartels together for this. And she's the one running the ecodomes. I think she made so much money off of First One Tech after doing stuff with the Eternal Traveler, Zolardos, and then just bought all the broker society, basically. And it is mostly, that's the thing, when we got here, right, and I looked at old Tazavesh architecture, it's really broker-like, and it does feel like the brokers in Tazavesh is a city stuck in time. Like, because this city was in the audiobooks, this city is like hundreds of thousands of years old. And I think that's just cool as hell. They're just like frozen. That's why I think this city... Oh, I guess it couldn't have been destroyed. Either they rebuilt it in the Shadowlands, or it didn't get destroyed. And... oh, maybe that was it. Maybe they put up the barriers to protect this city, and it got blasted into... it got pushed down into a lower energy realm. Or... the way they saw it. Oh, maybe that's it. Maybe the Koreshi that would become the brokers basically saw the Shadowlands as a safe place from the Void, right? Because what did Venari say? What does the Void fear? Death? That's what it was. The Koreshi that were like, yo, we're done with the Void, went to the Shadowlands so they wouldn't have to deal with the Void again. And built a floating city. It's not really very barge-like. Now that we see it planted. Right? I don't see how it was like a barge, but Dalaran's a floating city. Tazavesh is a floating city. Tazavesh is probably the original floating city, actually. So, you know, Dalaran stole it from them. So there we go. I think that's it for this lore rant. I think I gave y'all some interesting stuff to think about, right? Do you think Eco Del Maldani is going to be added? Why else would it be after the raid? Maybe they could do something like that. Do you think Locust Walker is going to die? I had a feeling from the get. I think my analysis of that cinematic is on point. I think that's how that's going to play out. And, how do y'all like Tazavesh? I like Tazavesh as a city. And, hopefully next week we'll talk about it where I really ask the question, are we going to get Koreshi? Is that going to be the thing we get? Anyways, thank y'all for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.